life, many people try to do the right thing. They stay honest, work hard, and hold on to their values even when life feels unfair. But here is a question you should think about carefully. Have you ever noticed how one small thought can change everything? Sometimes success is not lost because we are not talented. Sometimes it is lost because we allow one moment of greed to enter our mind. It may start quietly, like a simple idea. What if I take the easy way? What if I choose myself, just this one time? And before we realize it, that thought begins to grow. Most people believe that a good life is built by big opportunities, intelligence, or luck. But the truth is often much simpler. The real battle happens inside our own mind. If we do not control our thoughts, even a good person can make the wrong decision. Today's story will show you how one choice can open the door to a better future or close it forever. Stay with me until the end. Now let me tell you about a young man named Jake. He lived in a small town where life moved slowly and opportunities were rare. Jake was not lazy. He was not careless. In fact, he tried harder than most people around him. But his life was still full of struggle. Every morning he woke up with hope. He walked from street to street looking for work. Sometimes he found small tasks that paid a little. Most days he found nothing at all. When the sun began to set, he returned home tired and disappointed. He cooked a simple meal, sat quietly for a moment, and then went to sleep. Day after day, his life repeated in the same way. He had dreams, but no clear path. He wanted to improve his life, but he did not know where his chance would come from. And as time passed, the sadness inside him grew heavier. Then one afternoon, after searching all day and finding no work again, Jake started walking home with a heavy heart. That was the moment everything began to change. As Jake walked slowly along the quiet road, he suddenly heard a voice calling from behind. An old man was standing there beside 3 large and heavy bags. He looked tired but calm. He asked if anyone could help him carry 1 bag to the next village, and promised to pay 3 gold coins in return. Jake did not hesitate. He needed the money and helping someone felt right. But when he lifted the bag, he was shocked by how heavy it was. The old man explained that it was filled with bronze coins. Jake adjusted the weight on his shoulder and began walking beside him. After a while, they reached a river. The old man stopped and said he was too old to cross with 2 bags. He asked Jake to carry 1 more and promised 3 more gold coins. This time, he mentioned the second bag contained silver coins. Jake felt a small spark of discomfort. Why did the man keep reminding him about the money inside? If you have ever felt tested when doing the right thing, comment number 1 below. Jake carried the second bag across the river without slowing down. The water was cold and the weight pressed into his shoulders, but he kept going. When he reached the other side, he turned back and saw the old man still standing there, watching him carefully. Jake could feel the man did not fully trust him, and it bothered him. Jake wanted to prove something, not just to the old man, but to himself. He thought, I have nothing, but at least I still have my honesty. So he waited patiently until the old man crossed in his own way. Soon they continued walking and eventually reached a steep hill. Jake started climbing slowly, step by step. But once again the old man stopped at the bottom. He said he could not climb while carrying the last bag. Jake looked back already tired and asked why the man kept stopping. The old man hesitated, then said the final bag was filled with gold coins. He warned Jake that if he ran away, he would never be able to catch him. Jake felt frustrated. He said he was not a thief. He was simply a man trying to earn honestly. But the moment the word gold was spoken, something inside Jake quietly shifted. Jake stood there for a moment, holding the third bag in his hands. It felt heavier than the others, or maybe it only felt that way because of what he had just heard. Gold coins. The word echoed in his mind as he slowly began walking up the hill. At first, his steps were steady. He reminded himself that he was an honest man. He had always chosen the right path even when it was difficult. But as the distance between him and the old man grew, another thought quietly appeared. If I keep walking, he will never catch me. Jake tried to ignore it. He told himself he was not that kind of person. Yet the thought did not disappear. Instead, it grew stronger. With this money, I could change my life. I would never struggle again. I could finally become someone important. His breathing became heavier, not just from the climb, but from the battle inside his mind. No one was watching. No one would know. And in that silent moment, Jake had to choose between the man he believed he was and the temptation standing right in front of him. Jake suddenly started running. At first, it was only a few quick steps, but soon he was moving faster and faster. The bags bounced against his back as he hurried down the road, his heart pounding like a drum. His mind kept whispering reasons to justify what he was doing. He is old. He will be fine. He will not need this money like I do. The more he ran, the more those thoughts sounded true. He imagined a new life, a better home, good food, respect from others, a future without fear. For the first time in a long time, Jake felt excited. When he finally reached his small house, he locked the door behind him and dropped the bags onto the floor. His hands were shaking as he untied the first one. He expected to see bronze coins, but instead he saw small stones. He opened the second bag. More stones. He opened the third bag. Still stones. Jake stood frozen. His stomach sank. The room felt suddenly quiet and cold. In that moment, he realized something was wrong. If you have ever made a choice and instantly regretted it, comment number 1 below. Jake searched through the bags again, hoping he had missed something. But there was no bronze, no silver, and no gold. Only stones. His face turned pale as confusion filled his mind. Why would the old man lie? Why would he make Jake carry all that weight for nothing? Then Jake noticed something folded at the bottom of the last bag. It was a small note. He picked it up carefully and began to read. His eyes moved across the words, and with every line his chest grew tighter. The note explained that the old man was not an ordinary traveler. He was the king of the land. He had no family and no heir, and he had been searching for an honest person to adopt as his son and future ruler. The bags were never meant to be money. They were a test. Jake's hands trembled. He read the final line again. If you had stayed honest until the end, you would have become the next king. Jake slowly lowered the paper. His mind went blank. In one moment he understood what he had lost, and the weight he felt now was heavier than any bag he had carried. Jake sat down slowly, still holding the note in his hand. His mind replayed every step of the journey. He remembered how confident he felt when he said he was an honest man. He remembered how frustrated he was when the old man questioned him, and he remembered the exact moment the thought entered his mind. It was only a thought. He had not been a dishonest person his whole life. He had worked hard. He had refused to lie in the past. He believed he had strong values. But in one quiet moment he allowed a single greedy idea to grow without stopping it. If he had paused for just a little longer, if he had taken one more deep breath, if he had reminded himself who he truly wanted to be, everything could have been different. Jake finally understood something important. The greatest losses in life do not always come from big mistakes. Sometimes they come from small thoughts we fail to control. And from that day forward, he knew that guarding his mind was just as important as guarding his actions. This story reminds us that thoughts are powerful. Jake did not suddenly become a bad person. He did not wake up planning to betray anyone. The change happened quietly inside his mind, step by step. First, the thought appeared. If I run away, he cannot catch me. That could have been the end of it. Jake could have rejected it and kept walking, but instead the thought stayed. It grew into something bigger. If I take this money, my life will finally improve. Then it became a dream. I will be respected. I will live comfortably. I will never struggle again. And once those thoughts felt real, his actions followed. That is how temptation works. It rarely arrives as something loud and obvious. It comes as a small idea that sounds reasonable in the moment. But if we keep feeding it, it becomes stronger than our values. Jake's biggest mistake was not that he wanted a better life. His mistake was believing that one wrong choice could be justified because life had been hard. And many people make the same mistake without realizing it. They lose something valuable, not because they are evil, but because they stop protecting their own mind. And that is the real lesson of Jake's story. A person can live honestly for years, work hard, and stay faithful to their values, yet still lose everything because of one uncontrolled moment. Jake did not fail because he was weak or unintelligent. He failed because he let one greedy thought grow until it became an action. This is why we must understand something simple. Life does not change only through big events. It also changes through the thoughts we allow to stay in our mind. A thought becomes a choice becomes a habit, and a habit becomes the future we live in. So if you want to protect your life, protect your thoughts. When a negative idea appears, pause, breathe. Remind yourself who you want to be, because the right decision is often made in quiet moments, not dramatic ones. If you are watching this and you feel like you have been tested in your own life, remember this. Your values matter most when no one is watching. Choose honesty, choose patience, choose self-control. That is how real success is built, and that is how you keep the best opportunities from slipping away.